Have you ever watched something, probably a little younger than you should have, only for it to stick with you years later? Well, for me, High School DxD is that thing. The anime you can never admit to watching in high school. The one your parents walked in on at the most inopportune times. The one that may have just changed your taste in anime women, or men, we don't judge here. Gaspert's valid. But watching it now, it hits a little different. Because bred under all that fan service, under the weaponized jiggle physics, under the angel devil mythology blender of season 5 copium, it'll happen eventually guys, is a story more emotional and more sincere than DxD gets credit for. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not berserk levels of storytelling or anything, but there doesn't need to be. I wanted to delve into why it sticks out among the copious amounts of mountains of other Harem and anime. High School DxD is an anime that doesn't take itself too seriously, while also still having respect for itself. It knows when to insert fan service, but also knows when to strip everything back and be serious, even if it's just for 10 minutes. And that's what we're here to talk about. How a series that should have been nothing more than a guilty pleasure somehow became one of the most surprisingly well-constructed harem anime to this date. 2 DxD videos in a row, I know, I may have an itch. Let me know what you think DxD works below, and a like and sub or I'll commit Raynare. Let's start with Issei, the human embodiment of I can fix her. Or die trying. Episode 1 hits him with that Raynare special blend. Betrayal, heartbreak, and a speedrun of getting murdered by his first ever girlfriend. Awesome stuff really. What looks like a cheap shock factor twist ends up becoming quite the emotional arc throughout the show. We call this the Raynare Effect. The trauma that drives pretty much how he acts throughout the seasons. His fear of intimacy, Raynare. His obsession with assets as a coping mechanism, Raynare. His need to protect every person in his general orbit, Raynare. And throughout this development, DxD grows quite a bit with Issei. He grows more confident, he learns to trust Ian, becomes more protective, builds actual, bonds with people, but still flinches when things get a little too intimate. But it's a slow, steady growth. I know, right? Actual character development in High School DxD, I cannot believe it either. It's quite subtle in its methods. Unless you're actively looking for it, you'll probably not notice it very much. And I think this would helps DxD work and make it stick with you, rather than just a throwaway harem anime, and Rias Gremory, of course. It's rare to see a villain leave a lasting mark on the actual main character. If you want to learn more about Raynare, I have a whole other video on that. And now, speaking of different characters, like the average harem anime, DxD could have phoned it in. It could have made every girl a simple trope, given 2 defining features and call it a day. Well, I mean, they did with Asia, but me and the boys hate Asia, so Greifia gets more development than Asia does. But aside from her, everyone gets a piece of the pie. Everyone gets some story development. Rias, the poster girl. The leader trapped between family expectations, political pressure, and wanting to protect the people she chooses. She also has a whole forced marriage thing, which is a really cool arc, but Her second name is also Gatsu's wife, aka me. Akeno, the sadistic queen archetype. But from where it meets the eye, that's a bit of a coping mechanism for abandonment issues and quite a heavy emotional arc. One of the heaviest in DxD later on. Akeno is the mummy trope, but actually done well. And then of course we have Issei, overcoming the scars Raynare left on him, trying to figure out what kind of red dragon he wants to be, not the one preordained for him, which is his main power for those new. We'll get into that a little later though. Kuniko also gets some decent development, going from this closed off emotionally character to a more tsundere type, after she accepts her past as a Neko and such. Slight spoilers, but you should have watched DxD by now. Similar to Akeno's story with the whole not only to accept who you really are sort of trope. No, I'm not gonna lie, I really try to think this on for Kiba. His whole overcoming his experimentation and all that, but the poor guy gets one arc early on. Then I think the author just forgets about him. He gets trapped in development hell. Now, nobody starts High School DxD expecting actual lore. You expect other things, bouncy things. The reason your volume setting stays criminally low after 12 AM. But then the show just randomly hits you with the world building that's actually good. That one Markiplier gift just wow! You're sitting there thinking you signed up for haha funny anime boobs, and suddenly you're knee deep in metaphysics, angelic geopolitics, and devil economic theory. And you're just like, what? What's happening here? It's got angels, devils, and fallen angel political systems, literal factions negotiating treaties. Everyone is either hot, depressed, or both. Mythological integration, Norse gods, Greek gods, biblical angels, Japanese deities. It's like the writer just said yes, yes, yes to everything you've just thought of. Sacred gear mechanics. Basically the powerful relics given by the chosen by God. Or St. Michael after God saw the Overwatch defeat screen. Peerage hierarchies where devils recruit teams like it's fucking fantasy football. Except they literally go off pure vibes. That is not a joke. Rias just be kind of recruiting people based on she thought they had a good vibe. Power classifications. Low class, middle class, high class. A fucking dragon the size of a continent. Imagine like a slightly holy but also kind of heretical gacha game. Not to mention the literal devil economy, complete with contracts, labour, ranking advancements. And don't forget, enough characters to fill a fucking FromSoft wiki. Every arc introduces like 5 new people, 3 new fucking different royal bloodlines, 17 different sacred gears, and at least 1 guy who looks like he came out of fucking Final Fantasy XIV. DxD's lore honestly slaps harder than most of the isekais that try and take themselves seriously. Why does this line exist in an anime like this? I stole the principle of domination from God. It sounds like an Elden Ring boss monologue. DxD's world building is just so unexpectedly good. Like the offer was genuinely cooking. But then he got a little quirked up sometimes. Like, what if we have this really tense scene, but then we make Rias' mother incredibly hot? Yes. The writer treats anime women like Brazilians treat pocket fint, an unexpected secret weapon. You're learning about devil governance and suddenly, wow! The physics engine from 2007, Dead or Alive, comes back to haunt you. A genuinely revolutionary game engine for jiggle physics, by the way, fun fact. But yet, somehow it just works. The balance between world building and degeneracy, it just works, is all I can say. You get lore, then boobs, then more lore, then more boobs, and the cycle just continues in this fucking swirl of peakness.
Drilling a path towards tomorrow.
Now, speaking of the writer actually having really cool ideas, let's talk about one of, if not the coolest power-ups in the Harem anime.
Has always been love.
No matter the occasion, you always choose the path to ruin.
I shall drown you in the depths of crimson purgatory. Juggernaut!
The Juggernaut Drive is when the show stops pretending to be this haha boob anime and suddenly becomes an animal I've become AMV. Everything about it just tickles something for me. The screaming, the armor design, the silhouette, it's just peak. It looks skinny in some scenes, but overall I love how bulky and raw it looks. Not to mention the pure aura that is the chant. I fret the infinite and mock the dream. And of course, I stole the principle of domination from God. The author was failing a certain type of way of writing this. Though this section does differ a little from the overall novel. Apparently the novel focuses more on the pure terror everyone's feeling. Well, the anime kind of skips that a little and makes it more about romance and Rias, which I'm not complaining, to be fair. Up until this point, the only time we see Issa actually lose it, everything built up until this point, this little outburst, even Dreg starts sounding alarms. It should have been cringe, especially because Astia triggers it, sadly, but you know. The build-up makes it hit like a freight train. And yeah, it's a small part of the anime, but just the concept alone gets my point across. Tell me why in an anime known for tits does the phrase "God is dead" get spoken? DxD overall just had some really cool concepts and executions. One of the reasons I think it sticks to people, but Juggernaut Drive is just so peak. Now another thing about DxD is the dub is actually kind of peak. You know dubs, you know the risks associated when watching them. Especially in Harem anime where it can sound like a Fiverr job at some points. But DxD dub is pure cinema. Take a shot every time Issa uses a different word or metaphor for a girl's chest. It gets pretty damn creative.
School for one day and you're already causing a bunch of problems for the present Issei, so all things considered, you're lucky I stopped at fried chicken.
Well, better a fried chicken than a little pussy.
Wish granted.
Issei's voice actor sounds like a man perpetually on the edge of laughing with every line spoken. They changed his voice actor in the first 1 or 2 seasons, I believe, but the new VA sounds almost identical.
I don't know who she's sending to fetch me, but they're sure taking their sweet-ass time. Hey!
Look, it's Kiva!
Like, oh my god, it's Prince Golden Nuts, shut up.
They just look like they're having a good time. Akino's VA is having the fucking time of her life. Her best line is still calling Issei a brainless dildo.
No, of course not, sweetie. No one blames you. If anything, it's obviously Issei's fault for being such an incredibly brainless dildo when it comes to Rias' feelings.
What's a brainless dildo to do?
Plus, and Rias' voice is just perfection. Has a very subtle southern lining to her words. They keep this professional. That's all I'll say before I start barking at the screen. Koneko is also one of the better characters in dub. Her whole sarcastic, bullying Issei vibe, it really goes well for English voice actor. Honestly, a lot of voices are just really well casted for the characters they fit. The dub is definitely the most enjoyable way to watch DxD. It's one of the only dubs that's honestly just funnier than the sub. Imagine a more Team Ghost stories. You can tell the cast were just having fun with their lines, not taking it hyper seriously, while still giving a really good vocal performance overall. So yeah, if you're going to watch DxD for the first time, or you haven't already, I recommend the dub wholeheartedly. It's so peak. Now, the reason why most people even clicked on DxD to begin with, be it on a shitty anime site or a little box in a 480p corner, with the main cover being the rest of the screen, DxD has some of the best waifus to this day. They have a character for everyone. Even people who should be on a certain island with a hard drive. You know what I'm talking about. But despite the main allure being eye candy, they actually do have writing. Never ask an Infinite Stratos fan what the fuck the blonde one's backstory is. They actually have arcs, actual motivations, actual like moments for the character. As I say, peak waifus aren't just about how they look. Writing comes into play quite a bit too. DxD gets this mythology better than most fucking modern romance anime. And honestly, writing this, it still holds up thinking about it. Rias is the princess bound by the chains of her family name. Akino is the sadistic queen that uses that front to cover up her tainted origin. Zenobia has to deal with the heresy of becoming a devil after worshipping God and finding out he died. Asuya is... Asuya... High School DxD is just an odd one. A show known for its fan service that delivers actual emotional connections and arcs. A protagonist clowned on for being quirked up, but has quite a good reason for being that way. Characters that should have been cardboard cutouts, but end up actually feeling like a really dysfunctional but lovable family. High School DxD works because it embraces everything it is. Absurd, comedic, quite intimate, and the action scenes are moi. The world building also is just like, needs a lot more credit than it gets. Plus, there's a genuine heart beating underneath. You can tell the author actually cares about the characters. Except Asuya. That has been Hit Gamer Punish Gatsu with your daily DxD upload. Maybe when I lie. Like and sub or your waifu is mid.